Hey, what's up everyone, Astro here. In today's video, I'd like to share with you guys some carbon fiber or carbon Kevlar parts for my Yamaha Nmax 125. So in today's video, we're going to be checking out some carbon fiber parts. I'd also like to speak with you or talk to you about some of the quality aspects of different carbon fiber, carbon Kevlar parts, depending on how much you pay and where you get them from. Straight off the bat, I'm going to tell you that what I did with my Yamaha Nmax was I've stripped it apart more than probably 20 times and put it back together. And when you do something like that, you end up breaking parts, breaking panels, or not the panel itself, but sometimes panels have clips and pins and prongs that are made of plastic that help it guide and align itself into each other so everything interlocks. After a while, if you're not careful, and sometimes when you're a bit hasty, you can snap those parts. What I've done on some of my original Yamaha Nmax 125 panels is I've snapped some of those prongs and stuff. My original plan was to have these panels, not the carbon fiber ones, but the original parts, painted in a color of my choice. Unfortunately, that won't solve the issue of what I've done now, which is break off most of the mounting points to them. So I had to buy replacement parts, and while I was doing that, I was thinking if I was going to spend money on these actual parts, may as well go for carbon fiber or something a little bit more spectacular than the original plastic. We're going to talk about today what you get and what you expect to get from the price point you pay for. Now, you guys out there know this, but I'm just going to throw this out there for anyone who's thinking of getting into replacing panels or parts or just little intricate things with carbon fiber, is that not all carbon is made the same. It all depends on the price you pay. Usually you get what you pay for. Okay, so if you was to buy this, say from, I don't know, somewhere in the USA that specifically deals with carbon fiber, you're probably going to pay something in the realm of maybe $500, $400 for something like this, made in complete uniform carbon. The weave will be brilliant, everything will be very smooth. You get what you pay for, basically. Okay, the material will be a lot lighter, and everything's going to be fantastic. I can tell you this panel here I paid very cheap, a very cheap price for. I'm talking very cheap, a fraction of the price of carbon fiber, because it's made in a certain way. It's made very cheaply from slightly less than adequate, should I say, parts and pieces to make the actual panel. Okay, so this panel here is more heavier. Okay, it weighs more than the original plastic panel. One of the best aspects of carbon fiber is you're supposed to be able to save weight while retaining some of the rigidity and strength of plastics and original parts. If you save weight, it's going to be beneficial. You're probably going to be more efficient and slightly faster, a fraction faster, depending on how much you replace and how much weight you're shaving off. Shave off a few hundred grams here, a few hundred grams there, it all adds up in the end, okay? Or you could just lose some weight. Let's have a look at this panel here. As you can see, it's very shiny, and the weaving is okay. It seems, at a glance, everything seems fantastic, but I did pay a very small price for this. Okay, I'm not going to discuss exactly how much I paid for every single part, but you can check out online how much parts like this cost. Now let's have a look. This is how it arrived. As you can see here, if you can catch the light kind of going across there, that there are blemishes. Okay, the first thing that you'll notice is that it's not entirely smooth. There are bumps and nicks all over the place. There's one there, just to name a few. And also, one of the things that happens quite a lot is the weave sometimes folds, overlaps, or isn't completely smooth and uniform. Okay, so you can see it's kind of the pattern kind of changes all over, but I don't really mind, because obviously if I paid a crazy amount of money for these panels, which I wouldn't do, I'd be very disappointed. But for the price I paid, that's kind of what you expect. Okay, so if you're importing parts from, let's say, usually it comes from Asia, the price that they can make these panels, then that's probably what you're going to expect. Okay, do not expect something that's going to be completely fantastically uniform and brilliant all out. Okay, that's just not a realistic expectation. Okay, so aside from that, it does look very shiny, and at a glance it looks very nice. One thing you can notice is there is a bit of haze in some areas. This will happen, I don't know the exact process of how you make these parts, or you know, what you do to that causes that, but on a lot of parts, I mean, I used to have a different scooter, and most of it was carbon fibered as well, parts from Asia, and there was hazing in some parts, which is something that I could notice. Okay, so hazing is one thing, more noticeable when it's dark, I guess, or on a cloudy day, or if you put a light to it. Surprisingly, it's not very noticeable in the sun, which carbon fiber or carbon Kevlar looks fantastic in the sun. If you're a big fan of carbon, like I am, I mean, there's only one thing I love more than myself, and that's probably carbon fiber or carbon Kevlar. So it just looks beautiful to my eyes. Now, one of the also other issues is, I'm going to try and find it here. I believe this is epoxy. This on top, this kind of I don't know if it's like what kind of resin, epoxy or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it comes out very smooth, except when they layer it on too quickly, you get a drip. Now I'm going to try and find the drip or catch it in the light somewhere. There it is. There, you can see that bump there. And that's when they've layered this on too quickly, I guess, and it's started to drip. You know, when you paint something, let's say you're using a rattle can to spray something, normally you go in small coats and it kind of builds up the layers. You have a very small drying time in between. If you've ever painted anything and got too excited and painted it too quickly, you may get a drip. Is when the paint gets too thick and then it starts to drip down, and that's what's happened. It's probably not going to pick up on the cam. Yep, there we go. There on this side. And there on this side. Okay, it's not a big deal, because when it's mounted up and everything, you really have to go right up close to it and inspect it with a light to be able to see it, so I'm not too bothered. And let's have a look at the other panels which I got. These I had about 5 or 6 panels come in one package, and as you can see, this is the detail's very nice on this particular piece. It's not a very detailed piece. It's obviously just the shape of a shell, so it was easy to make, I'm guessing. A lot easier than something like that where there's many grooves and folds. This one is very uniform, no hazing, and pretty smooth as well, very shiny, so I'm very happy about that. So obviously I got one for the left side and one for the right side here. Okay, so this is kind of the stuff you'd expect, okay, when you're ordering carbon from Asia, I guess, or at a very reasonable, very cheap price. You get the look and you get the feel. There will be blemishes here and there, but there's nothing to worry about. I mean, if you're really bothered what the quality is going to be like, if you're really OCD and it has to be completely uniform, completely smooth, and the weaving is perfect throughout, expect to pay a lot more. Okay, probably 4 times the price of what you pay from something from Asia. There are many different people that do this. If I was to say to you, I got this part from this dealer, or this guy, he makes these parts here, that would be probably useless information. You'd get a price, but you'd have no idea of the quality, because every single part's different. He could probably, the same person could probably make 10 of these and they'd all come out different. One like mine will be, I'd say, close to perfect, and then you probably have one with lots of drips down the side here, which they will sell, because some people don't mind that. If I received one that had, say, 5 drips on this side, I'd be very disappointed. But that does happen. I'm not saying that that's what this seller will sell. I'm not going to mention any sellers or anything. You can go online and check them out if you're interested in carbon fiber, but that's your choice. A quick overview of a few of the parts that I got in the mail. Okay, very excited. I'm gonna mount these up to the Nmax now and then show you what they look like, with probably some clips in the sun as well. It just, to me, it looks beautiful. And this is what it looks like installed. This is the side panel that I got. As you can see, it's very uniform, very flush, very nice. The fit's perfect. It was basically a perfect fit. Okay, so the way you can see the weave goes, it's actually not too bad on this one. It's one of the better panels out of all of them. So it kind of goes with this seat that I got. I need to do a video later on this seat. There is something I need to tell you guys about it. If you're considering an aftermarket seat, or this seat in particular, there's some information you may want to know. So I'll do a video about that later. Here is the front panels. These are all carbon fiber, changed over here. Now the reason there's no screen on the front is because the original screen, the black screen that comes with the Nmax, has a little mounting hole here and one on the other side. And the screen has a prong that fits into those, okay? Now, as the hole would have been too small for the guys to make with this carbon weave, so they literally just filled it in and went over it and made it without. Now, it's not to worry, because they do screens that don't require the 2 prongs, and rather than break off the 2 prongs of the original black screen and then fit it on, I'm probably going to get a clear screen that doesn't have the prongs that fit in there. So I've just left the screen off by now. I've just put the screws back in and added a little accent washer. Don't worry about that. We'll fit the screen on later. But this is what it looks like at the moment. Looks not too bad for the price you pay. It's actually quite good. Obviously, those of you guys who prefer the plastic you probably just want to spray your original plastic, but this is what it looks like. And let's have a look at the Speedo surround. This part here, which is carbon, this is actually one part that I got made by a different person, and it was slightly lesser in quality. The weave is folded over. I was going to try and catch, if you look right there in that corner, and you look very closely, the weave has been folded over itself, where one end meets the other. You probably can't see very well, but it's there. It doesn't really bother me, mainly because no one's going to see it apart from me, and I don't really care. I'm not that much of a perfectionist, but I'm very happy because the original parts were broken. A lot of the prongs on the underside were broken, and fitting them in, they were kind of rattly. And the manufacturer, Yamaha, obviously put the prongs there for a reason, so everything can fit flush and clip into each other. Without those prongs, it's probably going to move a little bit. So getting them replaced, I'm very happy that I chose these panels. I'm going to leave you guys now with some still images and some video of the panels, the carbon fiber panels in sunlight. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and this is Astro signing off.